Now let's start now with the next topic, and that is how do you classify proteins by different bases. So the first basis is according to their shape. So according to the shape, the proteins can be fibrous protein, globular protein, or the intermediate shape. Now what are fibrous protein? So these proteins are of three types on their basis of the shape. First is fibrous, second is globular, third is intermediate type. So what is fibrous protein? These are fibrous means thread-like structures. So they will have primary structure, they will have secondary structure, or will have no tertiary structure or very less amount of tertiary structure. So finally their final structure will be generally secondary structures. And then remember, these fibrous proteins can have helical form or pleated form or collagen helix form. So all the three types are possible in the fibrous protein. And then fibrous protein are not enzymatic, please remember, in nature. They are not like an enzyme, because remember, enzymes always need to have tertiary structure and globular shape. So fibrous protein will never have enzymatic property. They may be contractile in nature, so they may undergo contraction. That's why they play an important role in the case of muscles, because muscles are, for example, contractile protein present in the human body. So these proteins are non-enzymatic, they are insoluble in water, and they provide elasticity, rigidity, as well as contractility to the animal body. And please remember that there are many examples of it, and the examples which I told you in the last class was collagen and keratin. Collagen is a fibrous protein. Collagen is present in the bones also, cartilages also, and keratin is present in your hair, is present in our skin. So if you remember, hair is made up of a protein called as keratin. The animal hoofs are there, animals horns are there, claws of the birds, feathers of the birds, these all structures are made up of collagen. So made up of keratin. Collagen, keratin, elastin, there are many types of proteins which all are fibrous in nature. So fibrous protein will appear to be something like this or something like this. So this will be the shape, and overall shape will look like a rod type of thing or a fiber type of thing. Now the next type of the shape possible is the globular proteins. So those proteins which are round, oval, or elliptical or oblong in shape. And that means, how will they develop this round shape? The reason is they will have primary structure, secondary structure, as well as tertiary structure if they are monomeric up to tertiary. But if they are oligomeric or multimeric, they will even have tertiary structure also. So globular proteins, remember, they are round in their shape and they are non-contractile, please remember. So they don't have the property of contraction. They may act like enzyme, they may act like hormones. So all are these globular proteins. And remember, they are soluble in water. If you have ever cracked open an egg, a chicken egg, you will find that there will be a yellow ball inside, and that ball-like structure is fat inside, which is called as yolk. And rest of the portion outside, which is translucent watery type, is the albumin. So the protein which is found in the egg is basically the albumin. This albumin, if you try to mix in water, it will be slightly soluble, but you would have seen one more thing: the moment you start heating it up, it will change its shape and color. So the reason is that they try to coagulate. This is called as denaturation. Denaturation we have done already in the last class. So these globular proteins are soluble in water, but as their size starts to increase, so smaller proteins, globular proteins, are soluble in water, but the larger one will be less soluble in water. The smaller one will not undergo coagulation on heating, but the larger one, for example albumin, will undergo coagulation or denaturation on heating. So remember this point. Then remember, if you need more example, then we can have the example of the serum globulin. I have told you in the last class that immunoglobulins are present in us, antibodies are present in our body to give us immunity. So these immunoglobulins are also round in their shape, so they provide us immunity. Albumin is present in the blood plasma. It helps in maintaining osmotic pressure of our blood. So there are many proteins which are globular, and remember enzymes, all enzymes and hormones are always globular, so they will never be fibrous protein. Now the third type of the shape possible, and accordingly the shape is somewhere in between fibrous and globular, and such proteins are called as intermediate proteins. These proteins are neither fibrous nor globular, but they will have an in-between situation, and that's why the characteristic is called as intermediate shape. And they are neither fibrous nor globular, and remember the best example is myosin. So remember, tropomyosin is an example of fibrous protein, and myosin is an example of intermediate protein. Tropomyosin is found in the muscles, even myosin is found in the muscles. You must have learned about fibrinogen. Fibrin is fibrous in nature, but fibrinogen, if you remember in the 10th class, before clotting takes place, that protein is in an inactive form, so that inactive form is present in the form of intermediate protein. So fibrinogen is highly soluble, and it is extension. It's a very great extension of the protein present in the blood plasma. But the moment it is activated, it will turn into fibrous protein, and then it is called as fibrin. Same way we have myosin. Myosin exists in the form of intermediate type. So these are the various types of the proteins on the basis of their shape. Now the next is according to their function. So according to functions, the proteins can be classified into enzyme, because we all know maximum enzymes around us are proteins. So they are made up of protein. So the main function, according to the function, the proteins can be either enzymatic, that means acting like enzyme, or they may have another function which is not enzyme. That means two basic categories are enzymatic proteins and non-enzymatic proteins. And non-enzymatic proteins then can have various forms and functions.